Alrighty, meowdy everyone. Thank you so much for watching. We're doing another video. I said I was going to do a nerfs and buffs video, and this is it. We're doing it today. We're getting through it. I really wanted this to be a professionally edited video, but I'm not sure if I'll be able to do all that. I'll try to get some pop-ups on screen here and there just to give you a rundown, but I might not be able to do it perfectly, unfortunately. But we're doing nerfs and buffs on every single character. I'll be going through them all. Some will be fine. So the way I've set it up is we've got buffs, we've got nerfs, we've got a fix/rework section, and then we've got fine. So if anyone goes into fine, it doesn't mean that they are perfect. It just means I don't think the devs need to worry about this character. There might be some bugs down the line, or stuff down the line, but yeah, as of right now, that's just where they're going to go. And disclaimer, so everything we mention here today, everything we can possibly ever think of in terms of meta or changes or stuff like this, unfortunately next season, season 7, everything's going to change, whether or not we give them our feedback or not, because AJ has said in the Discord that they are thoroughly testing the speed cap situation. So if you don't know, there is currently a top speed cap, meaning you cannot go over a certain amount of top speed. You can stack as much speed as you want, but when you actually go test it in the race, you'll be capped at a certain point. So they will be fixing that. They will be adjusting it. And because they're doing that, it affects every single racer in the game, which basically means the meta next season is going to change regardless of what we want. So everything here could be literally thrown out the window, which is it's unfortunate. But let's just get into it. I'm just give you my thoughts and ideas. If you don't agree, or if you do agree, let me know in the comments. Yeah, there might be some changes you think for certain characters that I haven't mentioned, or have different ideas, and that's completely fine, you know. So let's just do it. Let's just get into it. Let's begin with the worst character to the best character. Let's begin with Mowgli. We all know he needs a buff in some way. So my suggestions for Mowgli is that he needs to get more manual boost from his wolves. Currently, the amount of manual boost that he generates being around his wolves is actually abysmal. If you compare it to another character like Jasmine and Raja, Jasmine gets so much manual boost, it's insane. It's disgusting, because you could just stack that ability over and over and over, and you just keep going, infinite boost essentially with Jasmine. Mowgli cannot do that. Mowgli does not get enough manual boost by being next to his wolves. This needs to be increased massively. Not even like double, it probably needs to be triple. It's so bad. Other than that, he could use a top speed buff. Now, I'm not entirely sure by how much all of these values should change. That's up to the devs to decide, but I'm just going to give you the ideas that I think of, and I'm going to put them in most important, in my opinion, to least important, going from top to bottom. That's what I think Mowgli needs. I think Mowgli needs a top speed buff, and he desperately needs more manual boost from his wolves. Other than that, if you could think of other suggestions for any of the characters, you know, let me know in the comments. But that's Mowgli. So Lilo. So Lilo got a nerf. She does need a slight buff. So when we look at Lilo, Lilo is kind of like Ariel. Ariel gets 4 stacks and she goes really, really fast. She can have them permanently up the whole entire race, whereas Lilo doesn't. Lilo does not get that luxury. Not only that, but Lilo has to actually fight for her stacks. She has to get next to people, whereas Ariel can just pick them up off the ground. So Lilo needs to be around people. She needs to fight to get her stacks. And then when she gets her stacks, they don't last nearly as long. They don't last as long. So what I think she needs is, for starters, I think the duration of the stacks of her pictures needs to last longer. Maybe even double the length, maybe even triple the length. It needs to last longer, because it's not worth your time investment in getting your pictures for the amount of boost that it gives you, for the amount of speed that it gives you. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. The second thing I think they need to do, they got to increase her radius. So a lot of characters have this issue in terms of like getting stacks and how close you're going to be to people. I think Lilo needs a bigger radius. Like I don't know how big, just a little bit bigger. So because you also have to account for desync. Desync is a big issue in this game, and if characters are going to suffer from it, if you're next to somebody on your screen and you don't get a picture, that means that person is not there on their screen. But that shouldn't be happening. That should not be happening. It should be almost client-sided. If they're next to me on my screen, I should get a picture. So I don't know what they could do, either make it client-sided or fix it for every character, fix it entirely in the game, the whole desync issue, because we're going to talk about it a lot throughout this video. But I think just for now, what you can do, just increase her radius. Just increase it, because it needs to be bigger. Yeah, it will definitely help alleviate the issue of desync. Another buff you could give Lilo is making it so that the stacks of photos give more speed. So this is probably the least... So if they're going to do the other two solutions, you probably do not need this one. So that's why I'm going to put it on the bottom. But you can also do this as well. I think 100% definitely she needs to have the pictures for longer, because they just end. It does not last nearly as long. And the other two, you know, they can decide what to do with the other two solutions. As for her trail, I don't really see an issue with her trail. It drives itself. I think it's fine. I think her trail is fine the way it is, but I think you need more of an incentive to use her pictures. I think that's the buff she needs. She is a speedster. She needs an ability to get more speed. That's what she needs, I think. Mulan. Now, Mulan, some people actually mentioned in my previous tier list that they do really well with Mulan. And I'll be honest, I actually got her to champion just recently, and she was quite easy. However, she does have one issue, and that is she's very vulnerable. She gets one shield every so often. If she gets hit, you know, she has to catch back up. And she can do that. She does have good boost, good handling, so she doesn't lose speed around corners. The issue is her top speed is really, really low. The biggest issue with Mulan is she doesn't really have an attack to attack forward. She has her rockets, but they are very inconsistent. Do you know how inconsistent the rockets are? You almost cannot rely on the rockets. However, the rocket is really good when you're throwing it backwards. It's actually fantastic. The problem with that is you have to get in front. So I think the real solution, I think everybody agrees a solution to buff Mulan is just to give her more top speed. I don't know how much top speed. Maybe you don't want to give her too much. It might be too overpowering. I don't know. I don't know what the devs think. I don't know what the devs stats have, but she definitely, I think, needs more top speed so she can get in the lead, because she doesn't have many shields. She only has like one shield, and it's very rare. She can get in the lead. She can throw back her rocket. She can defend first place, but she can also get hit if she's not paying attention, if she doesn't have that, if she's around many people, that sort of thing. That is her weakness, and I think more top speed will help, because she is quite bad. A lot of people do agree that she is quite slow, and I think this will definitely help her. As for Minnie, there's a few changes we can do for Minnie. The first things first is revert the nerf that she got this season. She did not need this nerf at all. This needs to be reverted. She needs to get, I believe they nerfed her top speed or something. Give that back. Just give that back, because she does not need that. As a matter of fact, you could even go ahead and just give her more top speed. You know, if you revert it back, it would pretty much only put her in probably C. It might put her in B tier. I do not see her going any higher than that, though. So you could just increase her top speed even more. I don't see an issue with it. She doesn't have shot. You could rework her. She could actually be reworked slightly, if we call that a rework. You could give her shot. She is a brawler, and she doesn't have it, but I don't think she needs it. The problem is she's like who else? Donald. Donald is quite decent, although he's relatively slow. Where is he? He's down here. He has, you know, he has fire to basically stop people, and so does Minnie. The problem is you need to be able to get in front of people to use fire. Like, I mean, you can use the explosion, but you have to be close to them. Usually the trail is the best source of defense. But you got to get in front of them. You need the speed, and I think she needs more top speed. So revert the speed, maybe even give her more. And then from there, we can judge where she's going to be. She's not going to be broken by any means. None of this is going to completely make this character busted. Any of these changes that I've suggested, I do not think will make any of these characters busted. It literally just bring them to B or A, if at all. So that's what I think we should do for Minnie. You're going to see a trend here. I do think Daisy needs a small buff. Daisy's actually not too bad, not as bad as I thought she was. I do think she could be slightly better than Donald. She actually could be. And speaking of Donald, we'll bring Donald in here as well. People think Donald is fantastic. I don't. I don't think he is. I think he lacks the top speed to keep up at the higher levels. Yes, he's amazing. He's good at corners. He's good at defending around him with his fire and all that. But I think both of these characters, both these ducks, need a little bit of top speed. And that's going to be a common trend here. So yeah, you're going to see a common trend here for a little bit because top speed is really important. It's really, really, really important. But other than that, I don't think they need much. So we'll move on to Hortensia. Now, Hortensia actually needs to be fixed or reworked. So this is the first fixed character. They said they fixed Hortensia's issues, but they didn't. They did not. I mean, maybe they tried to and it didn't work. So let's discuss all her issues. So for starters, first things first is that you should not lose multiple shields when you get hit. So I have some videos I can show you on screen. At the beginning of this season, Hortensia can lose multiple shields from one explosion. From certain different attacks, you can lose multiple of those shields at the same time. That should not be how it works. They should all work individually from one another. If you get hit by an explosion that attacks them all, it should just remove one. The way her ability should work is you should have 3 individual charges of shield. So if you get hit once, you lose one. If you get hit another time, you lose the next one. If you get hit again, you lose the next one. You don't lose them all at the same time. They shouldn't be directional, but I mean, what can you do about that? I don't think they should be directional because it adds too much nuance and it makes it harder to program. Just make it so that if I get hit from behind, it'll get rid of the shield on the left or something, you know, like have it in order, left, right, then behind. It doesn't matter. It's going to be 3 individual charges, so they have to hit me 3 times anyway. So it doesn't matter that it's not like getting rid of the one from behind. I think that's how it should work. It's not going to be busted by any means. Like if you think that's going to be really, really OP, look at other characters. Look at Swan. Swan's immortal. Genie's immortal. Who else is immortal? Almost gosh darn Jasmine. Ariel's pretty much immortal. Hans is immortal most of the time. You've got these characters in the game that you cannot hit. So having Hortensia have 3 individual charges of shield will just pretty much make her par for the course. But even then, she's not a fantastic character. Other than that, another fix, throwing the shot backwards still breaks the shield. It will still remove 1 shield. That should not be a thing. They said they fixed this. It should not be a thing. That needs to be fixed. That needs to be fixed. Another thing, Hortensia's shields. Okay. They should not have their own hitbox. So the way they work right now is if you're driving and you hit an obstacle with your flower, you will lose that flower. It's a complete waste of a flower because it did not hit me. The obstacle didn't hit the racer. It didn't hit me driving. It didn't hit the vehicle. It hit the flower. So you lose the flower. You've completely wasted that flower. If you drive in between the 2 doors on the Monsters Inc. track, you can lose both of your side flowers at the exact same time, sort of thing. Like, that's how stupid it is. You're not getting hit yourself, but you will lose your shields. That's not how it should work. It should only activate when I myself have been hit. So that needs to be adjusted, I do believe. Another thing, with these changes I've mentioned, this will fix the issue to trails. So as of right now, trails pretty much literally go through her shields. If someone has a fire trail and you run into it, you will get hit. It won't even consume a shield. It'll just hit you. Not only that, you actually can get hit sometimes even though you have 3 shields. So for instance, a shot. For some weird reason, a shot can go through your shields. If it doesn't hit the behind shield, it can just hit you. It's really, really, really weird. The way they've programmed it is weird. I know the devs want every character to be unique. I like the idea of having directional shields, but it's too hard to manage. You should not need to be thinking to yourself, oh my God, okay, I've lost the left shield, so that means I'm going to have to go to the left side so no one hits me on that side. No, that's too much to think about. I'm sorry, but that is way too much to have to worry about in a game like this where there's just absolute chaos on the track. I should have 3 individual shields. They should only be used when I get hit, and I should only lose 1 every time I get hit by something. That's how it should work. And then even with these changes, I still don't think she'll be a good character. She has low top speed, like every single other character in the game. But because she's broken right now, we cannot judge exactly where she'll be. I think she'll probably move up to C, maybe even B. B at the most. I don't see her going much higher than this. She might need a bigger buff than this, but she needs all of these fixes first. All of the fixes. Before I can judge her, she needs these fixes. Moving on to Eve. That was a big one. So moving on to Eve. She needs... Let me think about it. She needs... I think she needs a buff. She doesn't need a rework, needs a buff. So... not a big one. She could use a top speed buff because she is another character that has low top speed. So the problem with Eve, I think she sucks. She is a defender. She is the worst defender in the game. She's a defender. She has brawler-like abilities, but she has no way to give herself more speed. So that's why I think she needs a speed buff, period. Like at just, just for starters, you know? Then I think she needs... so she needs 2 slight adjustments. The scanner, the range of the scanner is absolutely ridiculously small. It is so incredibly tiny, it's almost worthless. The only reason you would ever really use her scanning ability, where she puts, she puts the lasers in front of her, if anybody goes inside it, she will shoot. The only reason you would ever use that is if people are going faster than you and they're going to overtake you. Because if they overtake you, there's a chance they can hit you, slightly like go into it, and you can shoot them. Because chances are you're not catching up to someone. She has low top speed, so she's not going to catch up to someone and then shoot them. And if you've got enemies in front of you anyway, you may as well just use your lasers. You're not going to be using the scanner. You know what I mean? So the radius on it needs to be bigger. It needs to be like double in both dimensions. It's so incredibly tiny. And not to mention, she also suffers from desync. Kind of like, who did I say? Lilo. She needs a bigger radius because people will just go inside it and not get hit because it's so incredibly tiny. Like, I can't believe they actually made it as tiny as they did. It should be so much bigger. It should be a massive, massive square in front of her. That's how it should work. Because then that would actually be really good. Because that would mean, like, that's a defender ability right there, you know? If someone gets in front of you, bang, you shoot them, sort of thing. The next buff I think she could use is give her at least 1 or 2 more lasers. So if you compare her to Stitch, she sucks. She's worse than Stitch. She is so much worse than Stitch. Stitch obviously has lasers that can shoot whatever direction he shoots them, but for his other ability where he wants to shoot forward, they go so much further than Eve's ability, than Eve's lasers. Not only that, they ricochet how many times? They rebound on the walls how many times? Probably a dozen. I don't know. No, probably 3 or something. Eve's lasers can bounce. I think I have seen them bounce, but it's usually if they hit the wall early on. If they go a certain distance and then hit the wall, they probably won't bounce. So her lasers are just worse. Another issue she has with these lasers is if somebody has a shield, let's say you have 5 or 6 shots, you go pew, 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 pew. You will hit them, maybe. Let's pretend you hit them. You'll lose their shield, but because they lost their shield, they'll have iframes. They will be immune for a certain period of time. But because she has so little lasers, she cannot stun the person. She'll break the shield, but she won't be able to get the stun. She won't have any more lasers that can get past those iframes. So she needs more lasers. I can't believe they decided, hey, let's only give her 5 or 6 lasers at base. That is ridiculously weak. That is so incredibly weak. It's dumb. Like, if you're going to give a defender brawler abilities, at least make the brawler abilities good. Because she has no top speed. She has no top speed. Like, if she was a brawler, she would be better. She would be getting speed, or at least boost, manual boost from hitting people. She can get manual boost, obviously, from being behind and shields and stuff. But it's like, yeah, actually, I take that back. Yeah, being a brawler probably wouldn't help her. She would need to be... I don't know what class she would need to be. We won't worry about the class, but I do think she needs a buff because as she plays like a brawler, but she has really, really bad brawler abilities. She needs, yeah. That's my suggestions. Let me know what you guys think about all these characters so far. Hades needs a buff. So how does he need a buff? So Hades has this really weird predicament. He's got great top speed, Hades does, but the problem I have with Hades is that his ability, you can choose to be either offensive or you can be somewhat defensive, but it's not really defensive, it's more speed. You know, if you go past somebody, you get speed. If they go past you with the other ability, you stun them with your fire. The problem with this is, not only do you get to choose between, okay, like not only do you have to choose which one you want, you also then have to predict, am I going to pass someone or are they going to pass me? So if you compare this to Celia, he is very much like Celia. Where is Celia? She's down here somewhere. Celia has the same thing. She can either be offensive, where she slows people down, or she can have a speed boost, like Hades, exactly like Hades. She has a radius, kind of like Hades. Hades, I believe, works depending on what position he's in. It's kind of the same. However, Celia's is infinite. Hers is infinite and does not end. That's another issue with Hades. Both of his abilities need to be doubled in length. That is the second buff that I think he needs. His abilities end way too quickly. For instance, if you're using the speed boost and you're trying to catch up to someone to get said speed boost, it usually just runs out. It'll usually just run out before you get 1 or 2 or 3. Like, it's completely worthless sometimes, his ability. You're not even going to get any benefit from it. It needs to be doubled in length. It is so incredibly short. But if you compare it to Celia, where is Celia? Oh, there she is. She's behind my head. You can't see her. So Celia's ability works better than Hades. Her speed boost, when she gets manual boost from it, you can use this and have nobody around you. Like, that's how it works. You have to have no one around you and you can get this boost. Whereas Hades needs to be around people for both of his abilities. Not only that, he has this really, really finicky issue, which is what I think they need to change. This is the most important change, I would argue, is that there should not be a criteria to what position you are in and what they are in. Does that make sense? It should not matter whether you're passing somebody or they're passing you. Because if I want to be offensive, they have to pass me. I have to be in front of them and they have to get in front of me, and then my ability will work. But if I go in front of other people, nothing happens. And it's vice versa with the other thing. If I go in front of people, I'll get the boost, I'll get the speed boost. But if they go in front of me, I get nothing. I do not think this is how Hades should be. It should work no matter what. If you want to use the offensive version or the speed version, it should work no matter what place you are in or what place they're in. If you change positions with someone, it should activate regardless. You have to also understand, Hades is an epic character. And Celia is what? Like a rare? Celia is in the A tier and Hades is in the C or D tier almost. He needs something. He needs this. You might think that's a bit busted. I don't think so. I should be able to use Hades' ability to hit people with my flames no matter what position the person in front is in. If I'm catching up to someone, I should be able to use my flame on them. I shouldn't have to worry about, are they going to pass me or am I going to pass them? It's too much to think about and it's too much to predict. I don't know if they're going to pass me. I don't know if I'm going to pass them. I don't know what speed they have. It might look like I'm catching up and then I might not catch up in the end. I don't know. You cannot really predict this. If you're around a bunch of people, his ability works as well. That's another thing. If you're not around people, your ability is worthless. Compared to Celia, if no one's around you, if you're in last place, you can use her ability to get boost, to actually, try and catch up. Hades cannot do that. If Hades is not around people, he gets nothing. Same thing with Figment. Remember Figment? Where is he? Figment. Hello. Figment. I'm blind. Here. Figment had the same issue. If no one was around Figment, you couldn't get any stars. They fixed that, and where's Figment now? Up in the A tier. Maybe S tier, probably. I kind of want to move him up there. He's so good. Hades he needs something. He needs to work when no one's around. I don't know what they could do. Maybe make it so that his boost just works. I don't know. he does need something like that as well. But those changes I did mention, I think should be implemented as well. Up next, we have Jafar. This is an interesting one. Jafar needs a buff, but I'm not sure. I think this one's quite easy. I think this one's just a small, potentially handling buff. It could be a speed buff. He does not need a top speed buff. Jafar has really good top speed, but I think he falls off because I think his abilities aren't the greatest. You could buff his abilities, but I'm not sure how. I think just give him maybe some small handling tweaks, maybe a bit of handling, maybe a bit of something, somewhere, maybe handling, maybe I'll have to check his stats after this, and maybe he needs a boost. Maybe he needs boost handling. Sorry, not boost handling, boost and handling. I don't know. I think he needs a little something, just a little something, you know, a little something on top. Meg needs a buff. I think Meg is a fantastic character. The problem with her is she has low top speed. You can have infinite boost. Same with Mulan. You can have infinite boost and just never, ever, ever catch up to people. She needs a top speed buff, just a little one. You know, it's up to the devs to decide how much of these characters actually get like top speed, like how much top speed they get. But she needs something because she's falling behind. She cannot catch up to these higher class characters, these high tier characters. They are way too fast. Yes, she's immortal. She shouldn't get too much of a speed boost, but a little bit. She needs something. So moving on, we have Mike, the next fix / rework. So there's a lot of fixes Mike needs. Mike is actually a really good character when he works. He is a make or break character. If you don't get his doors, you're going to lose. That is the issue with Mike. He relies on his abilities. Unlike Oswald or Aladdin, you can just get your ability and just go. You know, you can just get through all the bullcrap. You can just press it and get your boost instantly. Mike has to fight for it. So for that reason, I think he needs a rework. We'll get to that in a second. Before he gets said rework, he needs fixes. The first fix is door placement. Have you seen some awful door spawns? I bet you have. Everyone has. The door logic, the dawn spawn logic needs to be adjusted. I'm not sure why doors spawn in opposite tracks. I could be in one lane, it could spawn on the other lane for some weird reason, even though I'm not there. It can spawn off the track. It can actually spawn, like in some variations of tracks, it'll think you're on a different variation and it'll spawn out of the track. You literally cannot get there because there's a wall in front of you. It'll spawn there. I've seen it happen. Not only that, you can go through your doors. So this is another fix. You can go through your doors and it just doesn't activate. I don't know if anyone else has seen this, but I have gone through both of my doors one at a time. Like I've had one next to another. I've gone through one, nothing happened. I went through the next one, nothing happened. I don't know why this is a thing. It should not be a thing. This needs to be fixed. That needs to be fixed. This little gremlin has so many issues. What's next? You can break your own gosh darn door with your shot. So let's pretend there's someone in front of you and you want to use your shot and you lock onto them, but then you decide after that, like you get a door after that and you use it. Your shot might still be trailing this person and it'll run into your door, destroy your door. That should not be a thing. You should not be able to destroy your own door with your shot. Next thing, you can get stunned before going through the door. And you will just not go through it. Now, you could say this is some sort of counter to it. However, this actually ties into a bigger issue with the game. There's a big issue in the game right now where if you get stunned, you get iframes. Excuse me. And getting iframes is good, but the problem is when you're not getting... not getting stunned again because of iframes is fantastic. But when you get hit with a positive thing... and you don't get the positive thing, then it's bad. What do I mean? I mean, if you get stunned before a grind rail, you just fall through the grind rail. Like your iframes will not register that grind rail and you'll just fall through. But you can actually go on the grind rail and get stunned on it and you'll still be on there. So that makes no sense. You can get stunned before an item box and just not pick up any of the item boxes for some weird reason. Same thing with Mike. You could say it's a counter to Mike, but I don't think it is, and I don't think it should be. If I get stunned before a door, I should be able to get through the door. And you know why? Not only that, you could have a shield. You can have a green shield with Mike, they can hit you and you can lose the shield. You will get iframes, which is good, which is what you're supposed to get, but you still cannot go through your door. Even though I didn't get stunned, I didn't get punished because I had a shield and I thought to myself, oh, I'm going to use this shield, therefore I don't get punished. No, you still get punished because you still don't get to go through the door. It is stupid. That should not be how it works. The only way you should be able to punish Mike is probably just by destroying the doors. That's his counter. But with that said, I do think that needs a rework as well. Once he gets the fixes he needs, he'll be a little bit more consistent, but even then he still suffers because Oswald and Aladdin get it for free. Why does Mike have to fight for his doors? I think you could do a lot of things. You could make it so that one door spawns and it isn't like you can't break it and it's always available. Maybe you can make it so that the door spawns and everybody can go through it. Maybe you could reduce the distance. Maybe you can make it so it spawns two doors. One goes really far, but it breaks, or one doesn't go nearly as far, but it doesn't break. Like it's a guaranteed door. You could do that. You could do so many different things. You could change the distance and where it spawns. You could do so many different things. He does need a fix and he needs a rework. Another fix I just remembered, by the way. Sometimes the doors don't spawn at all. Sometimes the doors don't spawn at all. So that's another little fix. So he needs some sort of rework because you should not have to fight nearly as hard to get through his doors. Yes, he's busted if you can get through his doors, but you have to understand, right? Everybody that played in season 1 is going to have good crew members for Mike and Sully and all these characters. But if you played in season 3 like I did, or if you play now and unlock Mike, you're not going to have these crew members. You're going to be an average Joe trying to get through his doors, being punched like a punching bag. You're going to be suffering. You're literally not going to be able to get. And it sucks. He sucks. He needs a fix to make him a little bit better, then a rework to actually make him viable because I would not ever want to touch him again. That's what I think he needs. Just something. There's so many different ideas. Let me know in the comments what ideas you have for Mike. Up next, we have Jack. I think Jack is fine. I think Jack is the first fine character. So we're getting to the B tier here. I think Jack is fine the way he is. I'm not even going to talk about him. I think he's fine. We're going to make this quick. I think he's fine. Woody, on the other hand, needs a slight buff, a very, very, very slight buff. In my personal opinion, I think using your lasso on a wall should be slightly more effective because the boost you get right now is pretty shit. Like, it is pretty bad. Like, what is the point of using his lasso? It's either you use the lasso to go around you, like as a defense, which is great. He doesn't get much, like he doesn't get a shield. He does, but it's very rare. So you can sort of use this as a shield, but you can still get stunned. But then it's like when you want to use your lasso and throw it forward, you either have to hit somebody, which is fan-frigging-tastic, assuming it says like S tier. It's amazing. But then it's like if it doesn't hit anybody, it's shit. And I suppose that's the risk you take. But if you compare it to someone like Gaston, it's kind of like the same with Gaston. Where is he? Oh, look, there he is. I think Gaston's fine, by the way. Gaston has the same thing. It's either you risk it and go for the shot and you hit someone and you stun them and you get the shot again, or you just use the other version. But the thing with Gaston is that he actually gets a boost. Even if you don't hit anybody with his arrow, you still get a boost. Woody doesn't get that. I think Woody needs a little bit more of a boost when it hits a wall because it's kind of shit. It's kind of not good. Other than that, I think he's fine. Like, he's a really good fast character if you can get the crew members, get the rush ability often. His vulnerability kind of sucks, but I think a small little buff like that, because he is a speedster. And I just think he's being punished for missing the lasso, which is really frigging hard to hit, by the way. Like, it's a small tiny little buff in my opinion. Belle. So this one's simple in my opinion. Revert the change that they did. Revert the nerf to Belle's birds. Belle's birds should not have been nerfed. Not only should they not have been nerfed, but she is an epic character. She is really hard to obtain. She is really hard. no, here. She's really hard to obtain. She's really hard to upgrade. She's an epic character. She's supposed to be strong. She is supposed to be strong, and they decided to nerf her for some reason. Just revert the change, put her back to where she was. Even where she was, where she was probably B tier. It was probably B. It probably wasn't even close to A. I think Belle's an amazing character. Actually, you know what? Belle does need a fix. I just remembered. She does need a fix. She is like Mike. She needs a small buff. Not buff. She needs a revert the change. The fix she needs is exactly the same as Mike. The furniture placement. The furniture placement should not spawn on opposite tracks. If I'm in one lane, and if I choose to go left rather than right, it should not spawn in the right lane. Like it sometimes does. It's so dumb. Not only that, but sometimes it doesn't spawn everything. Like it might spawn one cupboard, and then 10 meters down the track, it spawns another cupboard, and then 10 meters down the track, it spawns another cupboard. It's almost like Jesse's ability, but it's not supposed to be Jesse's ability. It's supposed to be like Elsa's wall. You know, it's supposed to block off the track, which in a big, in a thick track, with multiple lanes, it's kind of weak, but it's strong in skinny tracks. But even then, the spawn logic needs to be fixed. She does need a fix with her spawn logic, but also a revert to her birds, because that was not broken at all. Even if it was, she's an epic character, so it makes sense that it'd be strong. So just change it. Up next, we have Randall. Randall, in my opinion, needs a fix. So what does he need? So for starters, I think it's technically a fix slash buff. We'll put it in we'll put it in buff. I think he needs 2 small buffs. So for starters, you should not his ability should not consume boost when going through his door. So this is an issue with a lot of characters. It's an issue with Mike as well. Look, that's another thing for Mike. Oh my god. Slap that on the Mike board. Mike also shouldn't use boost when he uses his doors. Because unless you're actually going faster with manual boost, then that makes sense. If you're going faster with manual boost, then yeah, sure, consume the boost. But it should stop. Same with Oswald, same with whoever else. Aladdin, it stops. It actually pauses with Aladdin, but it doesn't with Oswald, it doesn't with Mike, and it doesn't with Randall. So we'll just put him in. We'll just put Oswald in here right now. Let's put him in fix, actually. They need a fix. Yeah. He and Randall and Mike suffer from the same thing. They should not consume any manual boost when they use their ability. It is so incredibly stupid that it does. We need to keep this consistent. I know the devs want to add variety and little nuances to every character, but it needs to stay consistent. It's so stupid. With Randall, it's actually almost detrimental, because you'll have manual boost, use the ability, and then when you get out of the ability, you won't have any manual boost, so you'll have to drift. It's just stupid. That's not how it should work. Also, so with Randall, the issue I have with Randall is that you need to get 5 of your charges. You need to get 5 stacks in order for you to get your boost. And that's fantastic. His boost is amazing, but you can go an entire race without getting your boost. And I think this is stupid. It's the same thing with Beast, and I should probably bring Beast up here at the same time. We'll do that in a minute. Randall and Beast suffer from this, suffer because they need to get their stacks. If you get a really, really small track with only 2 laps, then you're not going to get all your stacks. And that's another thing that they need to change, which I'm not going to do in this video. It'll be in another video where we talk about other changes. They need to make all the maps consistent in length. They need to be long enough for characters like Randall and Beast to get these stacks. Same with Lilo. Lilo needs time to get her gosh darn pictures, because it takes forever. But Lilo can obviously get more and more. Randall, so in order to account for this, I think Randall, not only this, Randall suffers from desync. He suffers from desync, same with Lilo. I think he also needs a buff with his radius, a massive buff. Like, let's be real. With Randall, you literally have to kiss people. With Randall, I have to go next to people and whisper in their ears, you know? I have to be like, hello. That's how friggin' close I have to get to people where I live with my connection. You might have really good connection, but if you have connection like me, you literally have to go right up next to people and like kiss them, basically. You have to kiss people just to get one scream. And of course they'd scream, because who would want a bloody kiss from him? Like, increase the radius. It should not be that big. I should not have to get inside somebody, like merging into them because I'm invisible and invulnerable. I should not have to go through somebody to get a scream. It should just be next to people. It should be kind of like Lilo. If Randall's ability had the same radius as Lilo, that would be amazing. Although Lilo needs a bigger radius, I think. If that was the same as Lilo, Randall would be better, and Randall, you'd get his ability more consistently. Would it be busted? Maybe. I don't think so, though. Because if you're going your entire race without getting your boost, you're essentially not getting the full benefit of your ability. It's ridiculous. You shouldn't, like, what's the point of having the ability there? It's like a one-off type of thing. It's like you play 10 races and you get it one race and you have a really fun time in that one race, but the other 9 races you're not having fun. What kind of a character is that? That needs to be fixed, I think. And also just to account for desync. If they're not going to fix the desync issue, make his radius bigger. Make it bigger. Make it easy to get the things. Hopefully they balance the laps, the tracks, so that you can get more charges. And then what was the other fix? Oh, fix the boost. It should not drain your boost. You're not going faster. If it makes it go through the door faster, if they change it so they go through the door faster, and it's not detrimental, like it's not as slow as just using... or just driving, I should say, because it's literally the same speed as you driving. If they make it go faster with boost, then sure. Otherwise, he needs a fix. He needs to be fixed, in my opinion. So let's go to some characters that I think are fine. So, oh no, Mickey needs a fix. God damn it. He needs a fix. I was going to say he's fine. No, he needs a fix. There's so many fixes, man. Okay, so I am nitpicking. So just in case you're wondering, yes, I am nitpicking. But I will nitpick. If I don't nitpick, then when are these things going to be changed? They're never going to be changed. If I keep hammering down these little nitpicks, hopefully over time they'll get changed. That's my thought. At least that's what everyone should be doing. Mickey needs a fix. So what's wrong with Mickey? It's technically a nerf, but his trail. You can go into his trail. There's actually two things. You can go into his trail and you can get a speed boost like it's supposed to, like Hercules. You know, where's Hercules? There he is. You can go into his trail and get a boost. But you cannot get invulnerability. You're supposed to be able to get invulnerability. If Mickey uses the invulnerability trail, you should be able to go into his trail and get invulnerability. It doesn't work. Have you ever used it in online and it worked? It hasn't worked for me at all. It works in private track, but because of desync, it doesn't work. I don't know why it doesn't work. Like, why does Hercules' ability work? Why can I go in Hercules' trail and get invulnerability? Why can I go in Anna's circle and get invulnerability? Why can I go in Minnie's circle and get invulnerability, but I can't go in Mickey's trail and get it? Like, his trail is so gosh darn long. Even if he goes straight and I'm in it and I'm just going completely straight, I still don't get it. What's wrong with it? Please fix him. What is wrong with this gosh darn character? How did he break? He used to be working fine, but now he's not. The next fix after that is a small one. Not a big deal. Basically, if you use your ability to get speed or invulnerability, if you get your ability again and use it before the first one ends, what happens is the first one will end and it'll basically... your trail will basically disappear. It kind of does need to be fixed, because if we're talking about, you know, fairness and other characters getting your trail to, you know, help them get a boost, it should be fixed, because if you use your ability within another ability, the first one will completely get rid of the trail. You'll still have your speed boost, you'll still have your invulnerability, and you'll still be in your animation. At least that's what I've tested. That might not be correct. That also might, you'll have to test it. But the first ability should not end the ability. The second one should extend it. That's what I mean. Like, if you use it within your first ability, it should just extend it, not end on the first one. It needs to be fixed. It happens with other characters as well, which we'll get to. Other than that, there's not much else I can say. Goofy. I think Goofy's fine. Goofy does not need to be changed. I don't think Gaston needs to be changed either. I think he's fine. Jack is fine. Gaston's fine. He's fine. God, there's a lot of fixed characters here, isn't there, coming up? Let's just do like a fine section, all right? Beast is fine, but as I said, the laps, the tracks, they need to be fixed because you cannot consistently get your 3 charges of raw on a really short track with 2 laps, and you just cannot benefit from it. Like, you're only really going to start benefiting from it when you're starting to get a bunch of boosts. So, I mean, he's fine as he is. There's nothing they have to do to him. It's just you got to make the tracks balanced. Gantu needs a small fix. He's actually somewhat fine, but the only fix I can think of is his puddles. So his puddles suffer from desync. Basically, they will spawn on the ground and then they'll just teleport. They'll just move somewhere else, or they'll completely disappear. Have you ever had this? You see his puddles and then they disappear, and then you just get attacked by the puddles because you couldn't see them because they're just gone, or they're in a different spot now. That actually, I was going to put him up here, but that needs to be fixed. That's ridiculous. I shouldn't have to worry about teleporting puddles on the ground. It's hard enough to see his gosh damn puddles. As a matter of fact, he should probably get a tiny little nerf, but fix the gosh darn puddles, please. Wally, I think is fine. I think Wally is fine as he is. I don't think he needs any changes. I think Olaf is fine. I don't think Olaf needs any changes. Stitch should be fine. Angel should be... No. Angel needs a buff. A small buff. So it's actually a fix. Fix/buff. So Angel needs to have her invulnerability start at the beginning of her ability. Kind of like Cloak. Angel suffers from this problem where if you use your ability, it takes her 1 billion years for her to stand up. Because if you watch the animation, Angel will stand up, she'll start singing, and then you'll get the invulnerability pop up. It should happen straight away. It should not take this long, because do you know how many times I've gotten stunned in between this animation? It should be the same duration as Cloak. If I press the button, give it to me straight away. Like, not straight away, not exactly like Cloak, like a shield, It's way too long. It needs to be fixed. Just fix it. Who else? Triton. Triton could use some buffs, but we're going to come back to Triton. I don't know if... No, I'll put him in the buff. I think he needs... I think his lightning ability that goes forward, I think it needs to be quicker. I think it needs to be quicker, and that has to have a more bigger effect. All of his abilities could have a bigger effect, honestly, because they're just so gosh darn, like they barely stun at all. I think the ability that goes forward sucks, and they have to do something. Maybe make it longer. They could have the range of it longer. They could make it so it activates 1 second quicker or half a second quicker. He needs a small buff with that ability because it is garbage. Kristoff needs a rework or a fix or a nerf. Wait, did I say Kristoff? I meant Eric. Prince Eric. So I'm not sure which category to put him in, but we all know Eric has an issue with his boat. Actually, he needs a fix. It's technically a fix and rework. It's not necessarily a nerf, it's just a rework. He suffers from the same thing that we thought got fixed this season. So they fixed the trails this season. They fixed the whole desyncing trails. You should no longer get hit by invisible trails. Except with Eric, have you been hit by his trail even though it's not there? I have. His trail will be miles ahead of me. I will have an Eric in front of me, 10 meters in front of me. He will use his ability and it goes in front of him, and that'll still hit me, and I'm 10 meters behind him. It's like an invisible gosh darn trail. It's like it stays there for a second. Even though the trail's not there, it will stay there for a second. It needs to be fixed. Not only does that need to be fixed, he probably shouldn't even have a trail on that ability to begin with. The boat, by itself, moves so incredibly fast that it can do damage by itself. The boat can do damage completely by itself, even though it's usually the trail that hits you. It zigzags like Pegasus' ability. It has no predictable path. You cannot avoid it like Mowgli. He probably shouldn't have a trail. Just move the trail. A lot of people think that you should just give the trail to his other ability. His other ability sucks. It's weak. It is so slow. It gives you invulnerability, but it's slow. There's no reason to use it, really. Just give the trail to the other ability, and that'll fix the whole gosh darn teleporting friggin' trail thing, because we don't have to worry about it then anymore. That's the fix you should do for Eric, I think. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think so far about all the characters. Mickey, Steamboat Mickey, I think is fine. Yes, yes. Tapping into my brain storage. Yes, I think he's fine. Figment's fine. I could put Figment into the buff, the fix or buff category. He does suffer from the same issue that Randall does in terms of radius. He suffers from the same thing where you need to have a bigger radius. Same thing with Lilo. However, because you can get one stack completely for free now, I think he is completely fine. I think the fact that you're getting one for free, I think he's good. You could fix it. It is an optional fix. If they wanted to increase his radius, which they probably should, because let's be real, it sucks. His radius sucks. If there's 10 people next to you, you're still not going to get a star for some weird reason. It probably should be fixed. I'll put it up anyway, but I think it's fine relatively for now because he's just really strong. Jessie, I think, is fine. I think Jessie's fine the way she is. I also think Elizabeth is fine despite her being really, really annoying and probably needing a nerf. Can I think of anything with Elizabeth or Jessie? I don't think so at the moment. There's probably things I've forgotten and I'm going to remember them later, which is really going to suck. Elsa needs a fix. A small fix. So Elsa's issue is her ice wall. She'll place down an ice wall and it gets bigger the higher the power is. But the problem is you can go completely to the side of it and still get hit. You can go through an opening in the ice wall that someone else has already made and you will still spin out. Like 5 seconds later, you'll go past it. 5 seconds later, bang, you just randomly spin out from it. It's stupid. It is really, really dumb. I think it needs to be fixed. Wow, I didn't actually expect many people to be in the buff category or the fix. There's actually a lot of... We are nitpicking, guys. We are really, really nitpicking. It's not going to change too much. It's just a small little fix that needs to be changed. Kristoff, I think, is fine the way he is. He could get a nerf with his... He could get a nerf with his backwards ability. It probably should get a nerf, but I think it's fine for now. The devs don't have to worry about it now, is what I'm saying. Celia has this weird bug. I don't know how they can fix it. It's a desync bug, but I don't think they have to worry about it at the moment. They really don't need to worry about Angel at the moment either. I'm just trying to think if I can move any to the fine category. I think, okay, so I'm really nitpicking here. Let's be real. Pete's puddles need a fix. They just, sometimes they float in the air. Pete's puddles float in the air. Sometimes they teleport as well, like Gantu. So that needs to be fixed. Same with Baloo. Baloo's gosh darn. Fruit sometimes spawn in the ground. Sometimes they even fall to gravity. I've seen them. I've seen a Baloo ride up along a wall in a non-gravity, in a sideways gravity section, and the gosh darn bananas just fall off the track due to gravity. He needs to be fixed in that regard. Shang, do I really put Shang in the fixed category because his gosh darn spinning cane is gosh darn really loud? Probably. I'll put him in the fine category. He doesn't need to be worried about now. Same with you. You don't need to be worried about just yet because that's not as big issue as Pete's puddles. But the volume for Shang's ability is pretty much overpowering to the point where it's louder than anything else in the game. It needs to be lowered. I can't believe they fixed it. They fixed the infinite noise bug and then didn't decide to decrease its volume, which is really weird. Hercules, I mean, he suffers from the same thing that Jasmine and... Eric suffer from, basically the teleporting Pegasus, but I think it's fine for now. Yes, I do. I think Anna is fine. Anna also suffers from the same thing Celia does, where you can have infinite invulnerability, like not you as the Anna. If you're playing someone else and you go inside Anna's circle, you can get this weird bug where you have infinite invulnerability for some reason. Same thing goes for Celia. You can have infinite slowdown. Or even Celia herself could get infinite boost. Not infinite boost, infinite slowdown. I mean, like it's activating. Like if it's technically infinite boost because you're getting boost because it thinks someone's in your circle and you're slowing them down. So it's a weird fit. It's a weird bug. It's a weird desync bug. I think that I'll put them in the fine category for now. They don't need to think about it at the moment. I'm going to put Bo Peep in there at the moment, even though she has a fix. I'm going to nitpick. She needs, when picking up Bo Peep's ability, or picking up her skill, I should say, her unique skill, it'll flash blue on your screen. It'll flash blue, and it will make you think that you're picking up a boost ability. But then it will change to the color yellow, and you're like, oh, wait a minute, it's not a boost ability, it's my unique skill. Have you ever had that happen? I know I have. I have it all the time. It's the only character in the game that has this weird gosh darn issue. Only gosh darn character. But she's fine. I probably should have mentioned that Jack has a gosh darn animation bug, but I mean, we're not going to really... Are we going to really talk about all of those animation bugs and sound bugs? Oh God, are we going to talk about the sound bugs? Are we going to talk about Christoph? Where's Christoph? Did I put Christoph in there? Are we going to talk about Christoph and his sound bug where it's like he says the wrong voice lines when using his skills? The same with Hans. Gosh. Aladdin, I think, is fine. Sully. You could argue Sully needs a nerf, but I think he's fine the way he is. We've got characters in the game that are faster than Sully now. I do not think he needs a nerf yet. You might think otherwise, but I think he's just fine. He's top of the tier. You know, he's not broken like some other characters that might need some nerfs. Ursula. I think Ursula needs a buff. So I've actually changed my opinion. I think Sully is better than Ursula. I have tested both of them out extensively yesterday. Ursula actually struggles a little bit more. I think, like, the only good thing about Ursula is her stats. She has really good top speed and really good boost, and you can give her really good combat as well, so that way she doesn't get stunned for nearly as long. But she's very vulnerable. But, you know, it's kind of a trade-off. You have pretty much infinite top speed. Why does Ursula need a buff? I'll tell you why. Her ability, her unique ability, sucks. It actually is kind of bad. I thought it was fantastic, but when I really look at it, for starters, her eels they are worse than Jasmine's tiger. Jasmine's tiger, or Mowgli's wolves even. Where's Mowgli? I don't know where I put him. Mowgli's wolves, right? What's the difference between Mowgli's wolves and Ursula's eels? Okay, Mowgli's wolves will stun people. If they hit you, they will spin you out and you'll come to almost a complete stop, depending on your combat. Ursula's eels don't do that. They are objectively worse. They will hit you, slow you down for literally a second, barely no time at all, and then you just keep going again. It's almost like you have really, really high combat. It's like getting stunned from Triton's wave. It barely does anything. It just slightly pushes you to the side. That's exactly what Ursula's eels do. They don't slow you down enough. It's like, why would I waste my ability on the eels when I know that one, they are avoidable. They are completely avoidable. You can jump over them, or sometimes they go completely the wrong direction. But then it's like when they do hit, they don't do enough. Why are Ursula's eels doing less than Raja's tiger? Why does why does Jasmine's tiger slow people down more than Ursula's eels? You know what I mean? I understand it's unique and it's cool and she is a trickster, but they need to do more. They need to slow down more. It needs to be more detrimental because she is an epic character. She's supposed to be good. She's supposed to be worth your time, worth your upgrades. It needs a buff. It needs to be almost triple the time in length. Like, not just double. It needs to be like triple. Maybe even just make it slower as well at the same time. Other than that, she suffers from another issue with her smoke. So a lot of characters suffer from this as well, and this needs to be fixed. This actually probably needs to be like a game-wide mechanic fix. If you get stunned or attacked by, let's say, a fire trail, if you're in the fire trail and you lose, let's pretend you have a shield. You have a shield and you hit someone's fire trail and you lose the shield. If you don't jump, or if you don't drift, if you just continue driving normally without jumping or drifting, inside that fire trail, you won't get stunned anymore, because the way the game works is that you need to exit the fire trail first and then go back in to get stunned. That is freaking stupid, for starters. That's how everything works in this game, pretty much, like, or most things at least. But that's how Ursula's ability works as well. You can be next to somebody, you could get rid of their shield, but they won't get attacked by the ability because they're still inside it. They're still inside your smoke. This is not how it should work. It should constantly keep attacking over and over and over, depending on whether you're in it or not. It shouldn't matter that you have to go in and out. That shouldn't be in the game at all to begin with. Not only that, if you have a shield or if you have invulnerability, yes, you can avoid it for the initial hit. But you want to know what happens? You actually get a boost. You actually, like, the ability boosts you and makes it so you lose control of your speed. The problem is, if you have a shield or invulnerability, you don't lose control. You just get the boost. You just get a free boost. What is that? What is that crap? That's not how it should work. If I have a shield, if I have invulnerability, I shouldn't be getting the boost at all. I shouldn't be losing control of my vehicle, and I shouldn't be getting the boost at all. It shouldn't have no effect on me. But because it's like, for instance, if you're a genie and you're invisible and you hit Ursula's smoke, you just get a boost, a small little boost. It's so stupid. That's not how it should work. So her abilities need to be fixed. Her stats are fantastic, but her abilities suck at the moment. They need fixing. Actually, they probably need fixing in here. Buffing. Technically buffing and fixing. That's my thoughts. Jumper. I'm not going to be biased. I'm going to say this right now. Jumper could use a nerf because, let's be real. Oh, excuse me. I don't think Jumper needs a nerf, like a big nerf. He's completely fine the way he is. If you are going up against a Jumper, you can easily counter his ability. If it's just one Jumper, you can counter his ability, because what you need to do is you need to think to yourself, I'm in first place. I need to get his shield and I need to dodge his ability. Because when you're playing as Jumper, do you know how infuriating it is to have to go against any character that can avoid your ability? Like, yes, every character can avoid your ability, but if you're going up against Angel or Ariel or Jasmine or Hans or Genie, any of these characters that have long invulnerability times, you're essentially doing nothing. It sucks. You get your ability once every so often. You have one massive shot to deal damage, and if it gets missed, if it misses, that sucks. You have to find another one. So he's not that strong in terms of that side of things, but when there's multiple Jumpers and they're not in second place, they're all going to be attacking the person in first. And I don't think that's fair. I agree with other people. It's not fair for you to be in last place with Jumper and attack the person in first. I like the idea of it attacking the person in first. It was kind of like a solution to a problem the devs created, because the problem they created was really unbalanced matchmaking. Even though we're sort of still technically getting it, it's kind of a little bit better. I'm not seeing too many people massively in the lead. But there will obviously be that will obviously keep happening, especially in regulated. But they've also adjusted the teleport as well. If they wanted to add an ability like a blue shell, like from Mario Kart, if they wanted to add another ability into the game that everybody could access, I think that's fantastic. You know, a one race ability that attacks first place, that's awesome. Go for it. Because that would mean the Jumper does no longer needs his ability to attack first. Because let's be real, they're never going to make a character like Jumper again. They're never going to make another character that could attack first place, because then you could just stack Jumper and this other character. Then everyone's just attacking first place. Like, that's not fair. That's not fair. Jumper's ability should only attack the person in front of you. I do agree. It's still going to benefit you if you're in second place. You're still going to be able to get them. That's how it should work. It should only attack the person in front of you. Everything else is fine with Jumper. It should just not target the person in first if you're not in second. If you're not in second, it should go for the other person, like whoever's in front of you. That's the nerf to Jumper. Genie, I think is fine. I think he's fine. He could probably use a nerf. You could probably think of a nerf, but I think he's fine. Buzz, I think is fine. Why do I think he's fine? Because he got shadow nerfed or stealth nerfed or whatever you call it. So in the recent halfway patch or midway patch, they adjusted the physics for the Little Mermaid track. And they basically made it so that hopping under the water will slow you down. Not only did they do that, but they've nerfed Buzz at the same time without telling anybody. So what happens now is when you use Buzz's ability, you cannot extend it. Once the boost has ended, you go back to your default speed. You can no longer extend it by hopping. You can still extend it with other characters like Goofy or with a Rush or with Beast, or who else has a really good ability that boosts forward. I don't even know. I can't think at the moment. You can do it with other characters. You can do it with Rush. You can do it with Grind Rails. You can do it with Manual Boost. You can just no longer do it with Buzz. And I think it's a good change because he was busted. He was busted before this season. Oops, I just pushed someone down. I think he's fine now, though. Next, we get to the very, very, very controversial picks. Nerf, massive nerf. So Hans needs a nerf. The problem with Hans is that he was already S tier. Let's pretend S tier is up here. He already was in S tier. He was probably low S tier or maybe high A tier, but he was disgustingly good. He was really, really good. He did not need the extra speed, top speed buff. So solution one, change one, is revert the top speed buff. He does not need it. He does not need that top speed buff. Secondly, I like the fact that the invulnerability is in the game because it keeps it consistent with every other invisibility item. It basically makes it consistent with Randall, with Meg, and with Cloaks. I like that he goes invisible and invulnerable because you also have to you have to remember, right? His invisibility didn't work properly. It actually should be fixed because it didn't work properly. You can still see Hans today invisible. Like, he's not invisible. He's just glowing red. He just glows. You can still see him. They need to fix the invisibility and keep the invulnerability. I like the invulnerability. However, it lasts way too long. It should not last nearly as long as it does because he can stack this over and over and over and over. If you don't hit anybody with Hans that breaks the invulnerability or invisibility, you can just stay immortal for the rest of the race. The duration needs to be nerfed. He needs to have a duration nerf and a top speed nerf. Those are the two major nerfs for Hans, in my personal opinion. Another thing, while I'm here, he does need one more fix. While also fixing his invisibility, there's another thing that needs to be fixed. So he suffers from the same thing that Mickey does that I mentioned before. If you use your invisibility and then get your ability again while you're still invisible, which you probably will, because his invisibility lasts about 20 seconds. It lasts about 18 or something seconds. You're going to probably get your ability again. If you use it again while you're still invisible, you will stay, I believe, invisible. You'll still stay in the attack stance, but you lose your gosh darn invulnerability. Your invulnerability will end once the first skill has ended, even though you've extended it, even though you've used your ability. Like, I'll have a visual on screen right now. It doesn't extend the invulnerability. It needs to be fixed. His invisibility needs to be fixed, and his invulnerability needs to be fixed. Because his invisibility doesn't work, and invulnerability doesn't get extended if you use your ability inside an ability. So he needs nerfs and fixes. Up next, we have, obviously, Jasmine. Jasmine was already A tier. I don't know why she got a buff. I think the reason she got a buff is because people in Season 4 will have a very happy time, have very nice, chilled time. The problem is now she's disgustingly strong. So solution one is revert the speed buff. She did not need this speed buff. Revert it. She already has top speed in her kit. If you have a look at her stats, her top speed is one of her best stats. Compare that to other speedsters that don't have top speed. She's amazing. She didn't need it. Secondly, remove the invulnerability on the tap skill, on the tap unique skill. The problem with this is She has Raja patrolling next to her at all times. And you can stack this ability twice. You can have 2 Rajas. She does not need it because you essentially have a shield. The shield is Raja. If someone's going to come near you, you're going to hit them probably. But of course, you can get hit by bombs and other things. But that's good because it's a counter to her. Where's Stitch? Stitch had the same issue in season 3. I'm surprised they let this happen. This is the problem that Stitch had. Stitch has this issue in season 3 where he was so incredibly strong, but you couldn't do anything to stop him. That's what Raja needs. She's incredibly strong with her Raja. Did I say Jasmine or Raja? She's incredibly strong with Raja, but there's no way to stop her. She just keeps going. With the top speed boost, she just goes. Not only that, you can stack the other speed boost, the other Raja ability, where Raja just runs forward. I don't mind this. I don't mind the fact that you can send Raja forward and get some manual boost. Some of you might disagree. Some of you might think that needs to be nerfed as well. And I would understand. If she goes back to where she was in season 5, back in A tier, that's fine. That's completely fine. But I'm just sort of playing both sides here. Keeping the only buff that she should keep is the one where you send Raja forward and you gain top speed. Not top speed, you gain manual boost. But what needs to be changed is her top speed needs to be removed, reverted, and the invulnerability has to go. That's the most important one. Invulnerability, go. Gone. Gornsky. Get rid of it. It's stupid. She doesn't need it. Get rid of it, please. It is painfully annoying and strong. Get rid of it. I cannot stress it enough. And then Ariel, of course. Ariel is the strongest character in the game. If you haven't played Ariel at level 45 in private tracks, please do. Play Ariel at level 45, get 4 of your stacks, and see how fast she goes. She does not slow down. She is busted. She's invulnerable a lot, which is really good. I like that. But the problem is she's way too fast. And the solution, I think, for this is, 1, there's a lot of different solutions you could do. Reduce the amount of top speed she gets from her stacks. I'm not sure by how much. I think it does need a nerf, just not sure by how much. And the second thing I think you could do is swap her and Eric's classes. Swap Ariel and Eric's classes, because was he in that one? I don't know. No, because Eric needs more defense. He really does. But not only that, Ariel does not need to be a defender. She gets cloak a lot. She gets cloak. She does not need the extra shield. But not only that, because she's a defender, she now excels no matter what position she's in. If you're going to have a lot of speed with Ariel because she gets a lot of top speed. So the most of the time you're going to be in front. You're going to be in front. You're going to be getting your cloaks. You're going to be insanely strong. But when she does eventually get stunned, or if she doesn't get stunned, if you don't get your abilities straight away and you're stuck behind, because you're a defender, you benefit from that. You're the best class in the game. Defenders are the best class in the game because they're completely brain dead. Like, I'm sorry. They're for smooth brain people. I mean, I'm not saying user, I'm saying I am too. I like defenders. They're the best class in the game. Best class because you don't need to think. You just go behind somebody and get free boost. You don't need to drift. You don't need to work for it like a trickster. You don't need to hit somebody like a brawler. You don't need to go over boost pads like a speedster. You just go behind someone. So she excels in every position. If you swap the classes, that will actually slightly nerf her. Yes, she'll get boost from the boost pads, but I think it's a bigger nerf than a buff. So those are the changes Ariel needs. She needs less top speed from her stacks, and probably less top speed from the boosts, from the charge version as well, because that's insanely busted. And then I guess just swap her classes. I reckon really you can. I don't know if they will, but I think they should swap Eric and Ariel's classes, because Ariel in the movie is not a defender either. As a matter of fact, Eric is the defender and Ariel is a mermaid, and you would think mermaids are really good swimmers. You would think they're really fast. You would think she'd be a speedster. She literally plays like a speedster. Eric plays like a defender because his boat defends him. Why are their classes swapped? I have no idea. I think it's a massive blunder from the dev team. It needs to be swapped. these are my changes, guys. So these are all my changes. Thank you so much for watching. We've got a lot of people in the fine category. I don't think these need to be touched right now. I think the biggest changes that need to happen is Ariel, Jasmine, and Hans, definitely. And then you've got obviously Trident will probably get a buff. I think Ursula definitely needs a buff. Mowgli needs something. Lilo needs something. You can argue about it for Mulan. I think she Minnie definitely needs a buff. You can argue about it for Daisy and Donald, though. I think Eve 100% needs a buff. I think Hades needs to be fixed. Not fixed. He needs to be a tweaked. So he needs a buff because he's too finicky. You can argue about it for Jafar. You can argue about it for Meg. You can argue about it for Woody. Definitely needs a fix. Definitely needs a fix. These two need a massive friggin'. Oh my god! Like put them in the workshop, please. They need help. They're dying here. Probably maybe even Randall, because he suffers a lot from bugs and just like finicky mechanics. Anyway, that's my thoughts, everyone. So please let me know what you think. Give me your ideas in the comments. And if you don't agree or if you disagree, if you don't agree or if you do agree, let me know. That's just my thoughts. Obviously, none of this matters because next season, the meta is going to change. Like, the meta is going to change because of the top speed cap. It's going to be increased. It's going to be removed. Everyone is going to be switching up positions. So we're going to have to redo this next season. But this is just what I think needs to happen. Well, I can't really. Whatever. Anyway, I'll end the video here. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for watching. Ciao, meow, everyone. I'll see you all next time in the next video. Give me some ideas. If you join my Discord if you want. Yeah. Thank you so much. See you all. Bye.